What is good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Living Big with Big Reg. Hey, listen, we got a couple things to talk about tonight. Y'all see the headlines. We're going to get through it as quick and smooth as possible. I don't want to hold anybody up on their weeknight. I know we all got to get up early, got things to do. I'm not going to hold you back from doing it. Okay? First and foremost, when you come in, please make sure you like, share, subscribe. We are at 108 for subs. We're trying to climb up and hit that 200. So please, definitely tell a friend to tell a friend. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? Your boy's birthday is coming. How nice would it be to get a couple more subs for his birthday? Just saying. Now, also, you want some fire merch to wear? Etsy.com/, living big with Big Reg. All of that will be in the description. I have to go back and add it afterward, but it will be there. Go check it out. Go get you some merch. Cop you something fire. Go get your loved ones something fire. Go get something for the kids. I make a little, something for everybody. You know what I mean? Okay, let's get down to our first topic here today. And it's going to be a draft spot for Caleb Williams. Now, we all know the major talk of the draft, well, one of the major talks of the draft, is where is Caleb Williams going? Who is going to draft him? And what teams need a quarterback? Well, if we go through the NFL, there's quite a few teams that need a quarterback, starting with the Chicago Bears. Now, some people look at the Bears and say they don't need a quarterback, they have Justin Fields. Are they going to keep Justin Fields? It's been a few years now. He's been in the league. He's finally getting his feet under him. He's getting his stride. He looked pretty good last year. Now, if he can get some offensive consistency, some protection, and some weapons, maybe he turns into what they thought he was going to be in the first place. I like Justin Fields personally, but sometimes maybe a QB just needs a different landing spot. Maybe they need to go somewhere else and, you know, fall in love there and become great players. I did hear whispers of him possibly going to Pittsburgh. We'll see. But Chicago Bears is definitely an option if you want to go there. Not to mention, they got the number one pick. So they are the most likely to get him, right? Obviously, teams like the New England Patriots. Um, Patriots are in desperate need of a quarterback. They've got their new head coach. I'd love to see if this team could make a turnaround in 1 year. That'll be amazing. But once again, it's going to be stacked AFC. So we'll see how that turns out. But if you could get a guy like Caleb Williams over in New England, he can he can get started there. Now that's another team though that kind of needs a complete rebuild. They don't have the weapons. The line is pretty garbage. Um, we all know Mac Jones is just not it, right? So he's going to be out the door. I think we all know that. And Zappy isn't it either. So they need a QB. It's just a question of I think they have the second overall pick. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do with that pick. If Caleb Williams isn't there, do you take a quarterback at two? I don't necessarily think you do, but they might. We'll see what happens. Um, One of my favorite spots, one of the teams I think should get him is the Washington Commanders. I know some people out there don't even like to hear this team's name, but if the Commanders get Caleb Williams and he can come in and be what he was in college from day one, they are going to be a playoff team. Matter of fact, quote me on this: they may win that division. They may go out and win that division if they get a quarterback over there. They've got weapons. Scary Terry, they got a dual running back squad over there. This team has potential to be like crazy. And Sam Howell's not the guy. Jacoby Brissett's not the guy. But they got Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel, obviously Scary Terry, like I said. They got a pretty decent offensive line. Brian Robinson Jr. and Antonio Gibson at running back. This team and catch some people by surprise. So I'd love to see what they do if they get Caleb Williams. That's my favorite spot for him to land. We got Miss Yolanda in the billion. How you doing, Miss Yolanda? We still waiting on that first episode. So if you could kindly let us know when that is, so we could all tune in, that would be beautiful. Now, one of the other things we're going to talk about here in a second, we're going to stick with football, but we're going to talk about QBs again. And I bring this up because this next team I'm thinking of could be a landing spot, and that's the Cleveland Browns. First week of March. Okay, Jay said it. Y'all see Jay said it. My boy J6. Oh, and if y'all don't know, tune in to J6 as well. The man's dropping fire content. Very knowledgeable on both basketball, football. I mean, he and sneakers. The sneaker king, just so y'all know. Um, but yes, to have for the Browns to have, and I know you're thinking, hey, they got Deshaun Wtson. Like I said, this is going to feed into our next topic because I'm not sure if he'll be there much longer. But okay, we're back. So they would definitely do well um, with drafting a Caleb Williams if the Cleveland Browns are going to move on from Deshaun Watson. And Jay, I don't know what you're talking about, sir. I have no idea what you're talking about. And he is encouraging you, Miss Yolanda. We'd like to see you on the big screen. That's all he's saying. We want to see you on the big screen. So, Caleb Williams, key landing spots. Jay, Miss Yolanda, I love put it in the chat. Anybody watching, put it in the chat. Put it in the comments when the video is over. Let me know where you think Caleb Williams is going to end up being drafted. My hopes, like I said, is Washington because I think that's the team that's going to be most ready for him. They may have to shore up some spots on the offensive line, but they got a good squad put together over there, and I'd love to see what they can do with them. On to the next topic, which I mentioned a little bit here ago: Deshaun Watson and a possible trade. Now we all know Deshaun Watson signed that record-breaking contract, fully guaranteed. Here's the thing: 230 mil, right? You expect they expected, I guess, Deshaun to come back and be the Deshaun of old before the injury and before the whole allegations and things that happened. But he's clearly seemed to have he's missing a step. Like he's fell back a little bit, and it happens. It happens 100% of the time to a lot of people when you miss that amount of football. It's hard to leave a game like football, basketball, any sport, and come back and be exactly where you were. It takes time. Now, there has been word that the Cleveland Browns may be looking to move off of him. Could one of the things they do be draft a Caleb Williams? But also, what would you get in return for Deshaun Watson? What are you looking for in return? I'm not sure many teams will be willing to give up a first round pick for a guy like Deshaun Watson this day and age. Um, Especially with the way he played last season, he doesn't have much on his tape as of recently. So there's a chance that teams will kind of be scared off from him, which, to each his own. It's kind of his own fault, right? You gotta play how you want people to pay you. You know, play to your pay. That's what people want you to do. Play to your pay, and he not doing that. But what are some teams that may be crazy enough to make a deal? One of the first ones that come to mind, and I've already been called out of this world crazy for a couple of takes I've made regarding this team. But Who's to say that Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman don't trade for that Deshaun Watson because he can move? A guy that can move in and out the pocket, scramble, could run some QB options. Who's to say that they don't take him instead of drafting a guy? Who's to say that they don't trade for Deshaun Watson, depending on what it would cost? And obviously, you would give up your QB, but you'd get a lot more in return. Just saying. We'll see. It's crazy. Pittsburgh, that could be another team. We talked about Justin Fields, saying that he liked Pittsburgh. What about Deshaun Watson? But would the Browns trade within the division? I don't think they would. It'd be stupid to do that, to be honest with you. It'd be stupid to trade within the division unless you're just trying to cripple the Steelers' finances. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, he's one of those things. He's one of those shaker and mover positions. I don't know where he would go, but it'd be interesting. J6 says Commanders have weapons at skill positions, but they just set themselves back with defensive trading away both. Yes, that is 100% true. And that was huge. I don't know why they traded away both. I would have kept one of my young premier pass rushers, but they have guys still. And we got my boy Raven C in the building. Hey, Raven C, man, we got to get on some COD, bro. We got to play some Call of Duty. I was just on a little while ago, too. We got to play some Call of Duty, man. Get out there and shoot them. And you know you trolling. Took them out the Ravens should draft Caleb Williams. You know you trolling. Don't let these Lamar fans. I know you a Lamar fan. I'll be watching your stream, especially on game day. I know you love you some Lamar, so we're going to let that slide. Okay, and I didn't know that. I didn't know Curtis Samuel was a free agent. But that's huge, though. And you know Washington has the money. So say you draft the Caleb Williams and then you sign Mike Evans. Can you imagine that? Mike Evans and Scary Terry? Good Lord. That'd be nasty. Or even T. Higgins and Scary Terry. That 1-2 combo over in Washington be ridiculous. He says I'm on Xbox right now. Boo. PlayStation's the way to go. Boo. Oh, it looked like hold on now. I think we got something going on here. What's good, sir?
Cooking with grease.
You chilling?
Just got back from grocery shopping with the wife, losing all my money.
Gotta do some stuff here on my end. 1 second.
As a spectator, really?
All right, can you hear me? I can't hear you. I think you're muted.
No, I'm not muted.
No.
That's
I don't know
not
why
muted.
I can't hear you. Give me a second here.
Maybe this extra vacation was just destined for me. Can you hear me now? I'm gonna refresh.
I ain't got you on my end for some reason. I don't know why. Okay. So you guys were able to hear him though, right? I'm just not able to hear him for some reason. So that's my stuff. That's my stuff over here. You don't have to worry about that. That's my I don't know why I can't hear you. It's my stuff that can't hear you.
Elective hearing loss?
I believe they can hear you. They can hear you. I just can't hear you. So yeah. And which is weird. You can hear me though, right?
You need to reset your speakers.
Hey, if you like Jared, if you like the background, You go cop a tea with it up there, just so you know.
Red try to act like he don't notice it's him.
I got you. You take over the show for a little bit. I'm gonna have you can talk about some possible trades for Deshaun Watson, and I will be right back.
Man, I can't see no possible trades for Deshaun Watson right now. I mean, he's not going to do anything special more than most of the other teams. Hey, don't let him know that. Do not let him know that. Maybe he'll rewatch it later. He'll see. But hold on. Yeah, I was speaking to the one who's never tried Girl Scout cookies. She gonna go to sleep, and I'm gonna just crumble them up, and as soon as she go to open them up to snore, I'm just gonna sprinkle them in. She gonna wake up like, damn, I had this dream last night, and it tasted so real. And I'm like, yeah, tastes like them Thin Mints, like them Trefoils or Samoas.
Okay, your boy's back.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, I can.
Good. I always want to do that Verizon shit.
Uh, so I don't have Verizon, sir.
No, the Verizon thing, the little white dude who used to walk around, and then he ended up, and then T-Mobile hired him like 2 years ago to do the same
Oh
thing he
yeah,
did for
for you,
Verizon,
bro.
trying to troll him. Mr. Galloway. By the way, for
Mr.
all y'all that don't,
Galloway, Dre in the
I need a
building. What's good, sir?
connection. I need a connection on them Girl Scout cookies. I don't care if you got to ship them.
Hey, I, I don't even rock with him right like that. So Dre, hook him up.
I need 3 boxes of
Jared was good,
everything.
sir. For those of you that don't know, please go tune in to Jared or 11 Green. Great content. Him and the Southern Ballers. They talk about college, the SWAC, college football. I mean, literally everything. The NFL. They're all over the place over there. Boxing, UFC. They do it all over there. Also, Mr. Galloway, hip hop extraordinaire. Please, please, please go tune in and check that man out. Great content. Fire content every Tuesday. So please go check him out. So now, sir, on the topic, Deshaun Watson. If you're a team looking for a quarterback, is he a trade possibility for you?
I keep them picks and draft somebody.
Well, what if you do like I said? What if the Chargers are just crazy enough to give up Justin Herbert for Deshaun Watson because of the system?
So the way that wouldn't work out is how does Deshaun Watson versus Herbert? That's one. Number two, what's the ceiling of each one? Because the ceiling for Deshaun Watson was higher, and now he was gone for a year. It seems like the ceiling is still high, but it ain't up there where it used to be.
Yeah. So my thing is, Deshaun Watson is he's still a talented dude, but is it possible that his ceiling is higher with a team like them, like the Chargers and your boy Giro?
It's a matter of scheme and calling the right play at the right time. Even if you're in the right system, if the right play ain't called at the right time, and the defense just has your number because everything's so predictable and whatnot, at the end of the day, it ain't gonna matter.
I don't know, man. It's one of those things just to see.
Okay,
I don't
okay,
think it would happen anyway. I
okay.
really
You
think the Chargers would
you have
draft a
Lamar,
running quarterback.
so you have Lamar, and we can run all day and all night, and then all of a sudden, we only run 6 times and throw 52 times. as great as Lamar is, and even though the system has scored how many points over the year, if the coach get to acting crazy and doing dumb stuff, it ain't gonna matter. So
But
system's
let's
important, and
let's
the
be
coach still
honest.
has to call the right play.
Let's be honest. Jim Harbaugh is a better coach than John Harbaugh. That's not going to happen with Jim.
Well, we don't know because at the 49ers, he let Roman run 3 times in a row against Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Haloti Ngata, and Terrell Suggs, and guess how that turned out?
I mean, but he let him do. People
It
should
was the
say
same coach. It's the
he let
same
him
coach setup.
run. He let him
It's the
run.
same coach setup.
Yeah,
And
but
guess what?
that's kind of what they were doing. That was their
And he,
go-to,
he came over
running
to
the
John
ball.
and did what? He came over to John and did what? Ran the same exact system. Just John every once in a while would get stupid and be like, "Hey, we should throw the ball because we're the Drew Brees of the NFL."
I'm just saying. I think that team would have an amazing shot. So I don't know. I mean, again, I think they're more likely to draft a guy than trade for one. Just because I think a late round pick, a guy that can run with the ball. I, I Jim Harbaugh likes these two QB systems, unless he's got a starter that can run. So I don't know. That this could be true here too. If it wasn't for Kaepernick looking for Michael Crabtree for 2 straight plays, Jim may have stayed in the NFL. That's possible too. But ownership, don't forget, ownership had an issue with Jim Harbaugh at the time too. So he was against head brass. And we gotta listen, we gotta guess another guest on the show, superstar upcoming YouTuber, Mr. Jared.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Hey
Brandon
man,
Reds, what's going on, man?
the usual, doing what I do, surviving.
I hear you. Same here, brother. Same
I
here.
hear that. So what are your thoughts on the Deshaun Watson trade?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Um,
Yeah.
I believe they need to kill. I caught a bit of what Brandon's saying, and correct me, Brandon, if I'm off. But I believe Brandon was saying, which if he was saying this, I agree with. Keep Deshaun Watson for a year or two, but just keep his picks, keep their picks.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Am I right, Brandon?
It's scheme and play calling. They have to match. Even if the QB do the right thing, if it's the wrong play, it's like what they tell the QB. Oh, it's a great scheme, but if the play look wrong, throw it away. So even a change of scenery don't always work. They just the coaches need to learn to do what they're supposed to do.
Right. I believe they got their Pro Bowl quarterback. He is proven he's able to play on that level. Like Brandon says, you have to scheme around him what he does great. So somebody in that offensive room need to go back and look at some older highlights of Houston and see what he shines at or something, because um, never mind his outside accusations, but that doesn't matter. On the field, he has shown he's more than competent to take the reins of the offense. So yeah,
So if you're, say, the Raiders or the Giants or even the Falcons, you wouldn't contemplate a Deshaun Watson over what you got?
With the Raiders coach, he would put him in a position. He would go there and make sure stuff happened the same. Giro and Jim, they kind of had the same experience as Giro and John. They just got to a point where it was just like, here's the wall. You can't jump over it. We can't go around it.
Now the Giants, you just paid Daniel Jones. And for what reason you paid him the amount of money you paid him, I don't know. but you clearly don't feel he's that guy.
The Giants just can't get right. He goes over there. It's going to be the same bad situation. If Lamar went over there, it would be the same bad situation. They just can't get right.
They also got rid of Wink. So
Man, you talking about offensive
difference. But it'll be interesting. It's going to be a crazy offseason because there's a number of teams out there who need a guy. And if the Browns are entertaining trades, one of these teams are going to have to pick a guy up because you're not. While this is a nice QB class, it's not a deep QB class. You get what I'm saying? There's maybe 3 or 4 guys. There's a handful of guys that you're really looking at and saying, okay, he's going to come in and change my franchise. And some of them are even questionable, like a Drake May. Take Drake May. I look at him and I'm not really sure if he's going to change my franchise, but he looks like.
I'll be honest with you, me being and I didn't mean to interrupt you, Red.
No, you good.
Being a UNC Tar Heel fan, I agree wholeheartedly. You know, when he got that Carolina blue, on, I'm rooting for Drake May all day long, but with his his movement to the once he get drafted in the NFL, I have to be honest. He may, in my opinion, can change a franchise if he hold the clipboard for a season. If you push him out there, you're probably playing the crapshoot because Drake May does have the talent to be a starter in the NFL. Like Sam Howell, he a starter in the NFL, but as you can see, he's not. His touchdown interception ratio is damn near the same. So it's a struggle, but that was his first year. But he, as you can see, he's not a like Brandon said, he's not a franchise guy like that. So I agree with you with Drake May.
I have a question though. Who is drafted where before you try to say a Deshaun Wtson trade? Because anybody who drafts a quarterback this year ain't trading for Wtson.
That's gonna be a big thing too. But that's why I brought up teams like the Falcons. They're in the 11th spot. They draft at 11. So who's to say the guy they want is gonna be there at 11? We know Caleb Williams won't. He's gonna be going in the first 4 picks because you got the Bears at 1, and they're looking to get rid of Justin Fields supposedly. So you got the Bears at 1. You got New England at 2. New England needs a quarterback. So Caleb is probably going in the first 2 picks. And then at 4, you got Washington. So if he doesn't go in the first 2, you know Washington's going to take him. Mm-hmm. And as much as I like Sam Howell, he, like you just said, he's a starter, but he's not that guy.
Yeah.
So Caleb's going in the first 4 picks. So then it becomes you either get Drake May or Jaden Daniels. Which one do you think is actually going to help change your franchise? And I got questions on Jaden Daniels and his consistency too.
If you want to narrow it down before the draft, you have to look at who has a team that they believe is built for now, but don't have a now quarterback. When you identify those teams, if they can draft a QB this year early enough or not.
To me, that's teams like the Saints. That's teams like, the Saints, Washington, like I said. The Falcons have some offensive weapons, but they're not there defensively. I don't think the Raiders are ready. New England's in a complete rebuild to me. The Bears need weapons and an O-line. So it's not many teams that are like a QB away. Even Seattle. Take the Seahawks. The Seahawks could get a quarterback too. Geno's only there for another 2 years? They could 100% go get a quarterback. So the Rams, I doubt the Rams are going to get a quarterback though, because they got Stafford. Stafford's a really good quarterback. Tampa Bay has Baker. Who knows if Baker could do what he did again?
Yeah, they're gonna run Baker again. Yeah.
And look, he lists a few dark horses here. Bo Nix, Spencer Rattler, Michael Penix, and Joe Miller. Listen, Joe Milton, I forgot about him. He's another one. He got hurt towards the end of the year, if I'm not mistaken, this year, right?
Correct. The thing about Bo Nix, I could be wrong, but Bo Nix to me is a system quarterback. When he was with Auburn, he was garbage.
Absolute garbage.
But he's a competent quarterback in the aspect if you get him around talent. Again, at the time, which we know Pac-12 is no longer with the NCAA, is now liquidated. The Pac-12 was famous for athletes all over the field on the offensive side of the ball, running back, wide receiver. So you put Bo Nix with Oregon, he gonna shine because he got talent and speed all over the field. But try to put him with a franchise or a ball club that needs a quarterback dependent on him, and I don't think he's that guy.
I have to agree. I don't think so either. I'm an Auburn fan, so watching him at Auburn, I was like, Jesus, get him off the field. So it was just to me, he was one of those guys that he went to Oregon and he fooled a lot of people, and he might be able to fool some people in the draft, but I already got my mind made up on him.
Yes.
And Michael Penix, I like him. I like Michael Penix. I thought he would be a first, second round talent. But you don't know these days, especially after the performance in the playoffs. Teams are probably going to be like, I guess his combine's going to decide where he goes.
I think his talent is there. I think if anything, you put him with a behind the offensive line that's I know we talk crap. I'm usually use our offensive line example. I know we know what we need for our offensive line, but if you start him, if you get drafted with the Baltimore Raven offensive line, that talent will show. But if you put him with a Giants offensive line, it's gonna be bad for him, like what Bryce Young's going through. I'm high on Bryce Young because his caliber. I know people talking about his height and stuff like that. That don't matter. I think he's you need to put an offensive line around him to protect him. So I'm saying that to say this: Michael Penix is got the goods, but my only negative thing about him is if he's gonna be injury prone. Because his last few games, he started to get. Of course, the last season, if you know his story, the season before last season, he got hurt.
Yeah,
and he was just coming off a lower body injury. I can't remember, but the last year he just went off. But that those questions about as for him being able to stay on the field, that's a big question with him. That's my only con with him.
yeah, and Brendan, I get what you're saying. I mean, you're in win now mode. You're not in position to get that guy in the draft, so you trade for a guy like Deshaun Wtson, hoping he could come in and be that one thing that gets you over the hump. But it's hard for. I mean, a lot of these teams are set up to win. Like, look at the Chargers; they're set up to win, and they still were finding a way to lose. A team like the Jets, the Jets still got Aaron Rodgers, barring any injuries, but the Jets could draft a guy and to play behind Aaron Rodgers because he's only got another year or two left in the league, especially after tearing the ACL. He doesn't have much left in the tank. So I mean, like not playing wise, but as far as dealing with injuries, it's going to be tough.
Jay, I'm not saying the Ravens would trade for him. I'm just saying a team that knows they need to win now because their window is here, and they cannot get one of these QBs out of this draft. If you're going to be stuck with Sam Howell, you might as well trade for Wtson.
Yeah,
If If you're gonna
Yeah,
be, if you're the
that's actually good.
Vikings and you can't get what's the old boy Kirk,
Caleb Williams.
I haven't done anything right by myself. Cousins.
Oh yeah,
If you can't get him back this year before you have to trade Justin Jettis, then you might trade for a Wtson to be more competitive than one of the three backups that they have, even though the backups aren't bad. If you think you can win in the next 2 years before contracts start hitting, you'll trade for Wtson because I don't think the Vikings are in position to get any one of those QBs that we just named.
no, I believe they draft pretty late. Give me a second. I'll tell you now. They're at 11. No,
Oh,
sorry,
okay.
22. 22.
Okay, I'm about to say I
They got
thought they were at
22.
least after 18 because they made the playoffs, didn't they? Or they came
Yeah,
close.
yeah. They're at 22. So they're not in a position to get unless again they get a guy like Drake May. Say Drake May falls that far, or
But
Jay
he's not.
Davis
He
falls
might
that
not be
far.
a win right now guy.
This is true.
Like the
This is
win right
true.
now guys won't be there at 20.
I don't think so either. But it'll be interesting nonetheless because that is a perfect trade partner right there. Hey, our backs are against the wall. We got to do something this year, unless Justin's gone. Let's go get Deshaun. But it's gonna cost. What would you trade for a guy like Deshaun Watson? What are you willing to give up? I'm not giving up a first round pick for Deshaun Watson.
I'll give up a first round pick after the draft. Like most teams were trying to do to us. If Lamar didn't sign after the draft, we'll give you a first because we'll be a playoff team. That's pick number 22, 23, 24. That's basically an early second.
Yeah,
But
I don't
before
know.
the draft, no.
I don't know if
I don't see
I would give that up.
I don't see
But
Deshaun getting traded before the draft because you want your full year to try and get your team up there to make that pick not worth anything.
yeah. Well, the Browns made the playoffs. People act like the Browns didn't make the playoffs, like they weren't right there. You know, so
Yeah.
that's why it's kind of a little bit of a shocker. They're like, hey, we're going to trade Deshaun. Why? It's not like you had a guy come in that was a young quarterback. It's not like DTR came in and went crazy. If DTR came in and went crazy, then fine. I can understand that. But it was Joe Flacco who's going right back to his couch. You're not going to have him be the starting guy all year long. And we got one of the greats in the building, Mr. Hendo from the Rogue Pod. Please
Hendo.
go check him out because he's one of the Ravens fans that keep it going out here. Jared is also a Ravens fan. So is Bazel. I myself am a free agent right now.
Well, first of all, I'm the free agent. I came up with the fan free agent term. How you on just do me like that?
I was out before you was out, though. I made my announcement first.
I don't make announcements. I just do.
I'm not going to take that as an answer.
I didn't make
How
a
you doing,
retirement
sir?
video. I just retired.
That's true. You did just retire randomly. But the Vikings, I think, was a good call for that trade. They're one team that could possibly do it. Now, what do you think of maybe a team like the Lions doing it?
I just haven't re-signed yet. No, I need a reason to resign.
Listen, I'm up in the air. I would definitely stay if there was no John Harbaugh. But right now, I need to see what they do in this offseason and in the draft before I can say I'm back to being a Ravens fan. Right now, I'm a Lamar Jackson fan. Right, I'm a fan of players right now until I find a new home. Even though I still got all my Ravens stuff up all over the walls, as you can see right behind me, the love will never leave. But sometimes you got to kind of put it on hold for other situations.
They hurting right now, folks. But they'll be all right.
Oh yeah, we hurting. That's definitely hurting. Definitely hurting. I ain't been the same since that game. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I ain't been the
Oh,
same at all.
I'm be like Lamar. You want me to resign? Here's what I need you to do first.
Listen, so let's go on to this because we getting into the heartbreak conversation. So let's go on to this last topic here. All-Star weekend, all-star sadness is what I like to call it. let's start off. They had now they got rid of the rookies versus um pro game.
Sophomores.
Yeah, rookies versus sophomore game. Thank you very much. They got rid of rookie versus sophomore game a couple years back. Now they're doing these skills competitions, and these guys don't even look like they care during these skill competition. So you get that. They go through the different drills and whatnot. So you get that, and then you get the 3-point shootout, obviously, and then they had Steph versus Sabrina, and then you got the dunk contest. And then Sunday night, you get the All Star game. And let's not forget Friday night, you get the celebrity game. Now, the celebrity game was basically shown up by Michael Parsons. He went over there and just dominated. I mean, he's dunking on people, he's shooting jump shot, he's doing everything. To me, the celebrity game can go. It's not needed. A lot of people don't even watch it, right? So let's just get rid of it altogether, right? And let's go with, say, we'll get rid of that altogether. We'll try to give away some free tickets to fans, so everybody in the crowd is in a celebrity, because celebrities, for some reason, they feel they too fly to clap and scream during the game. So let's get some more fans in the building, and then bring back the rookie versus sophomore game. Because if you noticed over the last how many ever years that they did that game always ended up more competitive than the All-Star game did as of the last 5-6 years.
Like what you did there, Jay.
Yeah, I seen what he did too. So what do y'all feel needs to change, or what do you think can change to help the All-Star weekend?
Y'all actually watch that stuff?
Oh, there you go.
Wait. Y'all actually watch that stuff?
There you go.
Look, I saw 37 seconds of the All-Star game, and it happened to me when Steph Curry was doing some interview. I don't know how many he did. And he competed against some chick in a 3-point shooting contest and beat her by 1 or 2 shots.
Sabrina Ionesco, yep.
And I only turned that on because y'all said the All-Star game was on. And I went back to doing what I was doing, watching the Discovery Channel. That's the only thing I've seen out of the whole weekend. I don't know anything else happened.
So I'm gonna say this just to talk about Steph and Sabrina real quick. I think Sabrina wins that if she's shooting from the women's 3-point line. She's shooting from the men's 3-point line. Yes, she's using a women ball, but that still extends it out a couple more feet. And for her to be right there with Steph, she's an amazing shooter. If you go back and watch, she set the record for most points in a 3-point contest, period. So, I mean, the girl can shoot. I've seen her play. She can play, man. She's a shooter, like for real. So, but even that didn't garner any excitement. And I did hear, I believe on Lunch Break Hot Take, he said, Jose said they should incorporate women into the All-Star weekend. And I agree. Incorporate the WNBA. They can use the publicity and, you know what I'm saying, maybe sweeten the All-Star game with a nice check, $1 million check to each player on the winning squad. Do something to make it competitive, right? I mean, I had a buddy tell me that he's like, why? He's like, why would you go out there and play a competitive game and risk getting hurt when you still have the most important part of the season to go? And my pushback on that was, back in the day when they played these All-Star games, they played competitively without getting hurt. They knew how to do it. You come up, you play
not reckless.
Yeah. Like you play defense, good defense, you play good offense, but you don't play reckless. Like you just said, you don't play reckless.
Even Dennis Rodman cooled it down.
Yeah. That's all it takes. You can make it a competitive basketball game, but they're choosing not to do so. As far
Like
as the dunk, go ahead.
the bloopers of was it Luca missing like 3 different layups was just like y'all ain't even trying.
Yeah, and they weren't. For goodness sake, the final score was 211 to 186. What? What are y'all doing? Offer him some money, do something. My boy Suge is in the building. Suge Knight 323. Please go check him out as well.
What
He
up,
does
Suge?
gamer streams and he has a show every Tuesday night. Still Conspiracy, or as Hendo likes to call it, Still Claws. Great show. Please go check them out. Dudes are absolutely cool to do streams with. Funny as heck. I love watching them. So now, not only is the All Star game not worth your time, the dunk contest is no longer worth your time. What do you think about fixing that? How can you fix the dunk contest?
I saw the whole thing. LeBron ruined the dunk contest. Yada yada yada. That's all well and good, but our best players these days ain't even the best dunkers.
You're right.
They're not. You have like the dunk contest was cool with what was his name? Shannon Spence. It was Shannon something. He was on the Shannon Brown. He was on the Lakers. Never seen him in a dunk contest, but you've seen him take off on people in games doing dunk contest type stuff. But he wasn't a big enough star, so they didn't put him in a dunk contest. But
Talk about Shannon Brown from the Lakers.
yeah, that boy could
Yeah.
take off.
Good point.
I promise you, if you put him in a dunk contest against Griffin, he would have definitely did a good job against Griffin, if not won it, because he would just sky. Like, I don't care who you
Yeah.
had, nobody was blocking it. Like Wimbenyama would have got slammed on because I don't think he would have got up high enough to really do anything to affect the dunk because that dude had Kobe going, oh my God.
This is true. Jared, what do you think?
Brandon basically led me to my point or my perspective. Basically, I remember back in the day, like, and these guys ain't all stars, but they on the roster in the league making contributions to their team. So y'all remember the likes of Gerald Wallace, Strawmouth Swift,
Uh-huh.
Gerald Green. You know what I mean? They ain't all stars. They ain't tearing up the stat line, but they some high flyers. Darius Miles. You know what I mean?
I
Jason
picked him for the
Richardson.
dunk contest in 2K.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember,
Who's Jason
remember Jason
Richardson?
Richardson?
Don't worry about it.
All right. Oh, Jason Richardson was an all-star. He's the example of an
He was a
all-star.
dog.
So, my opinion, if we can get back to that, you know what I mean? Getting them high flyers that's actually in the game. Don't get me wrong, Matt McClung. That was his name, right? Because I
Yeah.
ain't the all-star game. I just watched the highlights on YouTube. He can dunk, but and congratulations to him. But at the same time, as far as he's in the D League. You know what I mean? So it's we're going from the strong mile Swifts to the or the Corey McGetty's to a D League to somebody who not talented enough to make the roster. You have to reach out to him to get him.
You give me an idea, Jared. Now, there's guys who just do nothing but tour the country and do these dunk contest tours.
Yeah.
Put them up against the NBA stars. Now, you know that pride gonna get in that heart, and all of a sudden, players will we can't lose to the regular guys, and all of a sudden, it's gonna be like the N1 guys. They used to hate the N1 guys. They can't come here and do that.
I like that idea, but my thing is people want to see NBA players. So you remember when that little white guy that was considered the best shooter on earth, and then they had him on that show with Chuck and Shaq.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And they were going. He went in a little competition against the Jet, Kenny Smith, and Kenny Smith made him look stupid. So my thing is like, let's have NBA players. Cause yeah, you can dunk, but it's good to use your hand in competitions to dunk. But can you go in an actual NBA game and dunk on some of these actual NBA stars? And some of the stroke, like going back to my example, the strong mile switch, the Darius Miles, they could actually do that in the game. So that's why people want to see NBA players do that. But like Brandon said, like how it is, you might have to put like bring something in to make it more interesting. Like that's what I got on it, man. This
No, I agree. I mean, you either got to bring some people in to make it more interesting, maybe take a couple years off from it until you get more guys who want to be a part of it.
It's two guys who have a special dunk package for the parks. Like when you play in the parks, they have a special dunk package.
Yeah,
Those guys aren't NBA players, but they can do that on a 10-foot rim.
yeah,
And some of the stuff in that dunk package is NBA dunk contest stuff. So if you put them again, if you have put them against a Nate Robinson or a Dwight Howard, like you wouldn't have a year where an NBA player could just take up, be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to do this and it's going to be good. Because let you be the NBA player in that contest and you
yeah,
lose to this guy, you ain't gonna hear about it. Or it might have to be team NBA versus team dunk champ tours, whatever.
yeah,
Have them go up there as a team.
yeah.
Because
I mean,
just like
I
this,
just put a clip of a young dude. I put it in the Discord just the other day. He's just out there dunking, just at the gym dunking. I'm like, this dude's a beast. You get him
yeah,
out
I
in
saw
front of the
that.
people and let him go out dunk those guys. He out dunked every dunk he did in that video clip was better than what they did at the dunk contest. He'll go out there and he doesn't need. And these guys that do these dunks, they don't need all these props and stuff out there to do it. They're just out there flying. I think one of the things that was said was because it's a shooters league now, nobody really cares for the dunk anymore. Here's the thing: people still love to see a good dunk, especially if it's something dope. So yeah, so there's no way in my mind you're gonna convince me that fans will go, I don't want to see that. You got fresh dunkers? Nah, I don't want to see it. I
First thing
think
they
they
say
love
when they
it.
see that fast break, the camera zoom out a little bit, and they just
Yeah,
wait for the guy to get to the rim and do something with it, and let the guy just do a regular dunk. He'd be like, "You had a fast break though."
exactly. Exactly. So, like, if they bring, I love the idea of bringing in some street dunkers and go against the NBA dunkers. Because if you could get them to embarrass the NBA dunkers, and I'm talking about NBA, not D League, no, NBA. If you can get them to embarrass the NBA guys, or again, give them something because it seems like being an all star, being invited to that all star weekend doesn't mean anything anymore to these guys. So even if it's a case of moving it to the end of the season, much like the Pro Bowl is for the NFL, move it to the end of the season. Maybe you get a little extra out of them come game time. I don't know, but give them something to entice them to want to win that 3-point shootout, to want to win the dunk contest, to want to win that All Star game. Maybe offer for each thing, for each competition. Hey, the winner of this gets an additional 50K to your pocket.
Maybe it's that thing that the old school cats be talking about. These players ain't got the same pride.
can I
I
ask you?
believe that. Go ahead, Jared.
I was on another brother show and I asked this question. There was one person in the chat because he's an admirer of today's game. Um, he kind of act like he didn't know what I was talking about. So I'm gonna ask you guys, fellas. This is of course hypothetical. But let's say, and don't get me wrong, Stephen Curry is one of the best shooters I ever seen, right? But let's say if you take his game, put him in the same rules and everything in the 80s and 90s, where you can hand check, get a little rough. You're not gonna get every call. Um, is he going to do the same thing? In my opinion, he's going to still probably put up 20 or 30, but not because it's going to be defense. The defense is going to be more challenging, even though, in my opinion, these young guys are a lot more athletic, but at the same time, the defense was a little bit more hardcore back then. So
Very
me
physical.
being an admirer of basketball, but not really, knowledgeable like that, like I am in football. I just want to hear your thoughts on that.
So for me, I think he'd still be a great shooter, but he wouldn't be putting up the numbers of shots he puts up because playing back then, right? Not only is he getting beat on by the defender, but he's getting beat on when he's on defense because he can't play defense worth a dang. So now when you go down to the other end of the court, you're trying to defend one of these guys and they're dropping shoulders into your chest every chance they get. It was a very physical game. So you were getting beat up when you were on defense just as much as you were when you were on offense. So I think the physical toll of the game, well, we're on them a little differently. And maybe running you gotta have to run them off screens. He's gonna have to get into a half court set and stand back near mid court, get the ball and walk up and launch a deep three to really get that shot to go. But with guys hung all over him, harassing him, beating him, they used to let you tug a guy's jersey while he was midair shooting a shot, and they wouldn't call anything. I think those things would affect them because there wouldn't be there's no flopping, there's no, pretend, hey, I got tapped just a little bit. I need to go to the free throw line. There was none of that. The game was so physical back then. Even I was just watching some Jordan highlights the other day, and the man would get abused on his way to the rim. I mean, absolutely abused. Guys were getting slapped in the face, elbowed in the mouth. These are you elbow Curry in the mouth, he's down. He's probably going to sit on the bench for a good 20 minutes. So I think he'd still have the skill, but it's a matter of how could he get the shot off when he's smothered. And it'd be a lot tougher. I don't think he would be what he is today, but he'd still be a great shooter.
Okay, I like it, Brandon.
I think his points per possession would be about the same. When you have a talent like that, you don't. He doesn't defend. He doesn't rely on going to the basket as it is. It's a threat that he uses, and a lot of times he only goes to the basket when guys are out of position, and he pretty much just has a free line. You never seen him run to somebody's body and kind of do a switch around like Kyrie. His points would be down per game just simply because the game was slower back then. So, guys were actually using 18, 19 seconds of the shot clock before shooting. At this point in time, them guys walk down and it's 18 seconds on the shot clock left, and they've already launched a three and heading back down the court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jared.
Yeah, and thank you guys because the guy that was acting like he didn't know what I was talking about, he was like, because I brought up back in the day they could hand check like somebody like Derek Harper or Gary Payton, like you said, Rich, put their hand on you. You know what I mean? Hand check, and I know that's not necessarily all the defense, but that's part of it. What they used to do back in the day, especially defenders like Alvin Robertson and dudes that like to play like D from 1 point to the court to full court D on you.
If you try that with his ability to dribble, I think you'd be at a bigger disadvantage. Like you need to not be up on Curry like that, because if he gets you to go one way or the other, his slippery little ass, he's gone.
Well, so yeah, that works in today's league because he has the space to dribble. Remember, back then, those dudes fought for space to dribble.
I don't mean the
they
space.
Were pushing guys off of them.
Look at his dribble control. He does his pregame where he dribbles two balls at once, left-handed, right-handed. Yeah, you could get your hand on him, but with his dribble control, he could still put an arm back and do everything with one hand. He could still go between either leg, front or back with one hand or the other. Like him and Kyrie are highly trained handles-wise. It's the same thing that Allen Iverson did to the league. They have that type of handle ability. Because when Allen Iverson played, they were still physical. They were still putting their hands on you, but they were like, bruh, we stay off of him because If he does that long loop and he doesn't actually come back and he just goes that way,
Yeah, but
you got your
AI
hand
was
on him, but
built
you're not
different
keeping up
though.
with him.
AI was built different though. AI was a guy that he went through the battles of driving to the basket, being a small guy against the big guys. He was a physical player.
I understand that, but
Steph
he
is not
didn't
a
have
physical
that.
player.
But he
Like if
doesn't have that same three. It's not this.
yeah, but
It's the
look
same
at
and it's not the
Steph.
same.
Yeah, but look at Steph when players are physical with him. He struggles. Steph struggles. Like look at all the big playoff games where somebody said, "I'm going to get in his face and let's see what happens." He struggles. It's all throughout his career. If you watch those games where they
That's
actually
all
play
these playoff
defense,
games. Even when they don't play him hard, any playoff game where he could be eliminated or it's elimination, him and Clay just have this struggle thing. Just Clay has a different thing where he just hits a gear sometimes and you just ain't gonna do nothing. Like it's Clay just blacks out sometimes and just goes and it's just done. But every single big playoff game they show, even when somebody's not in his face, even before they figured out, okay, we'll just get in his face, Steph still has struggles.
Actually, y'all both right, man. I believe that just hypothetically, y'all let's put Steph back in the 90s or 80s. He'll still get put up 20, just but like Brandon said with his dribble ability. But um, I think like defenders like Jordan and Pippen, when they start coming, rotating to come up and play defense, that will bother him a little bit because of the constant pressure. But just his gifted handle, um, he'll be able to do his thing. So that's my point. That's my opinion. I believe that even though these guys are far more athletic, I believe as far as fundamentally shutting people down, I believe them older cats knew what to do better,
yeah,
especially
they
down.
also got in your head. They also got in your head back in the day. And the other thing is, you got to look at Curry. Curry does that little double step back, which was illegal back in the day. I don't know what happened to the league rules these days, but back in the day, you could not do that. There was no hop step, hop step. He does a double hop step to
Shaq
get to his
said it.
3-point shot.
Shaq said it. They did it um to compensate the European style.
Yeah.
You
So
also
that
had the Reggie Miller 3-point. Well, sorry, the Reggie Miller 4-point play, which I call it. Jump up, pick your legs up, and if the defender
yeah,
touches your foot, then you. So if
yeah.
he could have done that back in the day, my
Yeah, but
God.
here's my thing though. This is where I say he wouldn't have been able to because without that double step back he does, he's limited. He's not getting that shot. That's why I said his handle wouldn't have been as big because he doesn't have that double step back.
But you can jump forward into a guy and still draw the foul back then. So
Yeah,
I'm saying you didn't
that's
have to
fine.
double jump back, but you could jump forward and you could
That's
still
fine.
get a
But I'm
foul
talking about
call.
I'm talking about his regular shot. He's not getting up as many threes because he's not getting that double step back.
You
That's why
don't
I
have
said
to.
Steph has to get that double step back off to get off a three.
So there's different rules for different errors, and that dictates what you can do. So if Steph Curry jab steps you forward, you step back, he throws up a shot and bumps into you, and he goes to the line for three, or if he converts for the
Oh,
four,
yeah,
then
no. I know that.
he's still getting those points. So now you have it in your mind that okay, he's going to jab step, I'm going to jump. So now he's going to jab step, you going to step back, and he's going to shoot it, and you're going to jump straight up because if you jump forward, you're giving him a chance for four.
Hold on, but that's the thing I'm saying though. These
Yeah,
guys
that's
aren't going to step. I don't think they step back on his jab step. I don't think his jab step is a threat. But
The way
those back
the
in the
way
day,
he moves,
defenders, his jab step was not a threat. You know why? Because a lot of defenders would jab step. A lot of the guys on offense would jab step back in the day, and the defender would literally bump them as if they were blocking, like it was an offensive line. They literally go like this. That's what they did back then. When you talking
but
Jordan, Gary Payton, all them, they didn't go backwards because they weren't worried about contact. That's the contact is what made the jab step dangerous. Once it got to a point where if you touch a guy, it's a foul. That made the jab step dangerous. So guys were stepping back so they wouldn't touch guys. But
you're
back
also
then,
talking
they
about
would throw an elbow at them when
26%
they jabbed.
3-point shooters. You're not okay. So you come down the court and you're still backing up, and this guy launches a joint from 27 and just bucks it all net. Now you paranoid. Whatever
But
move
yeah,
he
but
make,
that's the
you got to be
playmaker.
next to
They
him.
wouldn't be backing up. You're still looking at today's defense. Look at defense
I'm not
back
talking
then.
about
They
today's
was meeting
defense.
guys at the half court
And
line.
that's why I asked this question, because you two
But
guys
what I'm
know
saying is
what
they
y'all
don't.
talking about.
So back then,
Go ahead.
they roughed you up because they didn't have to move. You can't do that to you. Iverson, Curry, Rod Strickland. You have to move to defend these guys. You cannot sit in place and defend
They
these guys
still did
because
it. They still did it. When Iverson was coming up, they would still come up to him. Like, that's the whole reason. Hold on. That's the whole reason freaking Tyronn Lue ended up on his behind. Because he wasn't that good of a defender, but well, he was supposed to be a good defender. But he got up on AI, even coming up the court, full court. Go watch that series. He came up full court on AI every time. And they still had the balls to do that back then. Back then, they didn't care how good your handle was. They was gonna come. They used to do it to Jordan. Jordan would get the ball, be coming up. They would meet him at half court. They're not gonna be afraid of a guy like Steph,
you're
especially
saying
a
it
small
like
guy.
the rules didn't go both ways. I'm older than you by a lot, so every rule that they
Not
had
by
for
a lot.
defense,
Except by a lot.
they had a counter for offense. I played in the post when I played, so trust me, I know you could get your ass beat, but I also knew I was going to hand you some L's on the way to the basket.
Yes, that was you. Again, what did you just say though? You played in the post. You were a big guy. You played in the post.
But
Steph
if
ain't got that in him.
If I had a handle in a three, and I got Charles Oakley setting screens for me, yeah, I'm whooping your ass all game.
Yeah, but Steph, what I'm pointing out is Steph doesn't
They
have
would
that
give him a
physicality in
Charles
him.
Oakley and run and have them screens set. And while he's doing all this dribbling, you're worried that Oak is behind you. You're worried Olajuwon's behind you. You're worried Patrick Ewing is
Yeah,
behind
but
you.
we're not.
Eventually,
We're
you're
not
going to get nicked up and
hypothetically.
paranoid.
We're not hypothetically giving them certain teammates. We're giving them a one-on-one against a guy back then. Hypothetically,
No. I
yes,
listened
we are. We're
exactly to
saying
what
how
he said. You said, sorry, Jared said, with today's defense versus then's defense, would Curry be able to get his points off? He didn't say
No, he
one-on-one
said will he
versus
still be?
Jordan.
He said will
Will
he
he
still
still
be
be
the
as
same
effective?
guy?
And if you
Then will he
give
still be the
him
same guy? And I don't think he can still be the same guy.
if you
Would he
give
still
him
be
the
able to put
right
up points?
guys,
Yes, I agree.
he would be the same guy because you would put in motion. If you gave him a Phil Jackson, he would be the same guy because
Nah,
Phil's going to say,
guys,
okay,
those guys knew
here's
how
the
to
play
fight
we're
for
going to
their
run.
points.
He would be the same guy. And you can't say if I give him Phil Jackson, he wouldn't be the same guy because guess what? Jordan got a Phil Jackson. Kobe got a Phil Jackson. Scottie Pippen got
What I'm saying
a
is
Phil Jackson.
we can't hypothetically put him with certain coaches back then or with certain teammates. I get that.
So, but you
What I'm saying
hypothetically
is
put him in a one-on-one
we can-
against another person, right?
We can no. What I'm saying is we can take his game, his play style, and say, would this play style work? Would he still be
No,
getting
he didn't say
30,
play style.
40 points?
Okay, let me rephrase.
I'm saying Curry's
He never
play style.
said play style.
Curry's
He said
play
if
style.
you put Curry in those same years,
But
could he be
said
as
because of the way he
effective?
plays.
With
He
the
said with the way he plays.
with the way he plays, but playing in the 1990s and 80s and 70s rules.
With the way that he plays, if you are a coach with any qualifications to coach, you can make that play style work if you know that if you get this man past half court, he could drop a three on anybody in God's name.
Okay,
You would make sure he could get that off as a coach.
Do me a favor. Tell that to Del Curry because he's the one that taught Steph most of his stuff, if not all of it.
I can tell you that to Del Curry, but guess who's the better shooter?
Go tell
Who's
me
better shooter?
that to Del. But why is that though?
Who's the better shooter? Who has better handles? Who has a higher assist to turnover ratio?
Here's the thing. Why is it that he's the better shooter? We can't say. I think he's the better shooter because the league he plays in. The league he plays in lets him walk up and shoot 30-foot jumpers. The league he plays in doesn't meet him at half court.
Have you ever seen a good coach who's better than the player he's coaching? Have you ever seen a good coach that's better than the player that he's coaching, or was better than the player he's coaching?
Listen, the point.
Give me one. I need it. Give me one.
Here's what I'm trying to say to you, right?
I understand what you're saying.
The difference in playing then and playing now they're not going to let Curry come past half court without a hand in his face, without a body on him.
That is
These days,
fine.
he can walk to the 3 point line and shoot. And guys, those I don't know if you like it looks the regular games look just like the All-Star game when Curry comes up the court. They don't step near him to D him until he's about to walk inside the 3 point line. It's been my problem with the NBA for years now.
See, I understand what you're saying, but you're not understanding what I'm saying. The question is not could he play a certain style? Could he play AI style? Nope. Could he play Jordan style? Nope. Could he play Ron Harper style? Nope. He couldn't play Tony Kukoc style? No. But if you're telling me that I have him on my team, I guarantee you the power forward is walking up the court with him on every single thing. And if you want to get in his face, cool, there's going to be a screen waiting for you. If I am your coach and you're telling me that this man can drain a ball from La La Land and be back underneath the other basket before it hits the rim, I'm scheming that up. Point blank
Okay,
period.
but
If
so
you
this is
give
what
if
I'm
you give the
saying.
proper scheme, you can't stop him. Is
This
all
is
I'm
what I'm saying,
saying.
and
You gave Jordan the
I
proper
can listen.
scheme,
I can
you
agree with
couldn't
that. With
stop him.
the proper scheme, he could possibly. I wouldn't say he wouldn't be unstoppable. You can't stop him, but that depends on the coach, right? And the
Right.
proper defensive scheme. So if we're gonna say, oh well, if they scheme him up, he'll still be the same guy. Then I could sit here and say, well, if they scheme against him, he won't be the same guy. I'm just saying with his play style, I'm going based off just the thought of what I see Curry do today. Could he do it back then? And that's why I said he'd still be good, but he wouldn't be that guy. He wouldn't be what he is right now. Back then, he'd still be good. That's why I agreed when you said he's still going to get 20 to 25 points a game. I agree. He'll still get his 20 plus a game. I agree. But he's not going to be a threat to drop 40, 50, 60. That's not going to happen. And I
Nobody
think
was a threat to
that's
drop
what I
40,
believe the
50, or
question was.
60. Nobody was a threat to drop 40, 50, or 60 unless you were getting literally 20 or 30 shots a game like Jordan was because the
But
game
that's
was
what he does.
entirely too slow.
That's what Curry does every single game. Even when he just gets 20, he's shot up 40 shots. That's the point I'm making. Where he wouldn't be the guy he is now, but he'd still have the capability to score that 20 plus. But he wouldn't
On
be
the
the guy he is now.
on the ramp of his scoring then to now, it will be similarly close. Because hardly anybody was getting 50 points was I mean, think about it. 50 points then was crazy. Now Jeremy Lin's getting 50 points.
That's because the physicality of the game. And that's why I
Right.
think
So
his
if you
point total will
that's
go
it's
down. That's
not
what I'm
just the
saying.
physicality of the game. If you scale it to how fast guys are putting up shots, the NBA right now this year, aren't they putting up shots within 15 seconds of getting the ball
Yeah,
inbounded
because
from back court to front court? Back then, you were putting up shots with 5 or 6 seconds left on the actual shot clock.
and that's because they actually played defense back then. That's where it comes
But
into
that's they
guys
didn't rush
getting you
back
at
then
half
either.
court and then you're forced to run an offensive play, not just walk up and shoot. That's why the league is so different because back then they would play every team played defense. They would meet you at the half court line. That point guard would meet your point guard at the half court line and start defense right there. They wouldn't even walk all the way back. Remember back then the defenders they would score and these guys would go back to the half court line and wait for you to come at the half court line. Now the whole team runs back. They're all sitting under the basket. So by the time you get to the 3 point line, somebody's running out at you with one hand up like that. That's not defense. And that's the reason why a lot of these guys get up the shots they get up because there's no defense on them until they're inside the 3 point line. It's outrageous. Like I was just watching before All-Star weekend, I was watching a game. Who was it? Who was playing? I don't remember who was playing. But dudes was coming up to the court. You get to the half court line, no defense was anywhere to be found. He got to the 3 point line, was open, just chose not to shoot it. Cause I guess he was a bad shooter. I don't know all the NBA players like that, but
Back then, yeah, they waited at the half court line, but guys walked it up there. Like there's a reason there's an 8 second rule because guys literally walked it like they took their sweet time getting to half court. It wasn't
they
just
didn't even
because the guy
remember to
was
defense.
taking you the whole way up. It's because the guy would get the ball. All right, cool. He's calling plays at like quarter court, and then he picked the ball up and he's getting to half court. I'm
Yeah,
saying
because
back then
they knew.
they naturally moved slower into their formations, into their half court offense. Now If they get in a half court offense, they don't even know what that is because usually by the time you hit 3 seconds on it's 21 seconds on the shot clock by the time they're running past half court.
Yeah,
And
because
that's
there's no
nobody.
defense waiting for them.
That's nobody pressuring them. They're just trying to get to the ball to score. They're just in a rush to score.
And I think it's because there's no defense on them. Because if you look, that's where that shift comes in that I'm talking about. Because a lot of these guys, these teams are winging up threes because their guys are wide open. Because there's nobody walking up to the 3-point line, so you don't have to. They don't have to take their time getting the half court to set up the play and all that because they know there's not a. Think about it. Back in the day, if they waited if they ran to the half court marker, they couldn't set up an offense because it was a guy waiting for them there. So they had to take their time walking and get guys set up and in place before they could get to that half court. Because once they got to the half court, it was all defense. Now you can run up past half court and you just standing. How many times have you watched the game and you seen guys just standing in front of the half court line dribbling the ball, and now they're pointing out and running plays? It's because the defense drops. These teams don't play physical defense anymore. They just drop. They're worried about fouls, so they tell their guys just go down there and wait. If somebody shoots, put a hand up. That's what defense is now. Just put a hand up if somebody shoots. That's it.
I watched the 80s basketball game, and they weren't even like they were just throwing the ball back and forth half the time. Like even when there was a guy open, they weren't in a rush to score. Like they literally waited till there was 10 seconds left on the clock and be like, all right, now let's try and get our shot up.
That was
even when they weren't pressured. It was just pass 4 or 5 times. Okay, cool. All right, now we're gonna try and get our shot up. So it's not just the defense was.
Oh no, it's not.
The defense was more physical.
Saying it's just the defense. I'm saying that's a big part of it.
Yeah, their strategy was a slower, more methodical strategy. Now, even if you played heavy defense, it's still a strategy of get to the front court with 20 seconds left on the clock if you can. And if the guy's like what's the man from the Bucks? He guarded old boy coming up the court from the Nets from the time he stepped on the. I swear the ball ain't even making them bounce. He was guarding them already, and he was like, "Okay, you want to guard me? Cool." I just tossed it up to KD, and then when we get across half court, KD give it back to you. We'll set it up. And still, they were shooting. By the time you saw 16 seconds on the clock, they were shooting the ball.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I agree the game is faster now, but I think a lot of that is because it's less played. There's a lot less design in the game
it's less
than it was back then. I mean, nowadays, like we said, guys are just walking up and shooting it. Half the time, it's
Kobe did an interview, and he was saying how guys are playing accidental basketball. I'm like, really, Kobe? And then he was like, if you think about it, when him and Phil Jackson would scheme something up, they would see that team play and say, when we do this, this team's going to do this. And we do this, this team's going to do this. So they were scheming like NFL type schemes, like we need to do this to pull him here. When we pull him here, he's going to challenge you up top. Them two are going to run, throw it to Derek in the corner, and he going to bang that corner 3. And now guys are running up and, all right, cool. The guy moved. Let me pass to this guy. He'll pass it back. I'll pass to this guy. And, this guy ended up with an open shot. Here, you shoot the shot.
Yeah, it's pretty much let's get a guy in the post, a guy in each corner, and then the 2 guys at the top. That's really all it is now. And it's we'll shift and run a screen or 2 and somebody throw up the ball. So, yeah, it's nothing like they don't scheme like they used to back in the day at all. And I think that's one of the reasons why I said because of the defense and the way they played back then, he would still be able to get his 20 points. But he's not going to be, what he is now. But that was an amazing question. Amazing question. I absolutely love that.
And I love listening to it, man. Like y'all knew, so knowledgeable of the game. Me being just an admirer, not even digging into the game like that. But it was. I just let y'all have it, man. Just listening. I learned a lot.
And that's honestly, that's how I do every time I watch your show. I just sit back and I just listen because you guys. I mean, the amount of stuff I learned from you guys about the SWAC and it's absolutely amazing. And I already know to come to you guys when I'm looking at this draft and who's gonna be a sweat guy in the draft that people should look for to pick up? Because I know you guys are gonna have an answer for that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are, and it's funny. We a small channel, man, but and I'm gonna let you know this too, man. Just people be watching, bro. Even if they ain't gonna give you your credit, people be watching, man. So keep grinding. And I was watching somebody doing a video on the Ravens, not nobody we know.
Yeah.
But he had one of our HBCU players that I knew we were just talking about. Setiata Anderson from Grambling, and me and Coach were the only ones that were talking about him and had him on our, saying that. And he had him. I was like, oh, okay. I don't think that's a coincidence. So I say that to say this, man. Just keep grinding, bro. That is
Absolutely, man. Absolutely,
all.
absolutely, absolutely, man. Listen. We all in this together. We gonna ride this out. All our channels is gonna succeed, and we all gonna climb to the top of this YouTube thing. And I can I feel that in my gut. So pause, because I know how Brandon be thinking. Pause. So
Yeah,
he goes
I
straight
don't
to
like
the
you doing
negative.
that.
I gotta pause that immediately.
No, I was
But
trying to figure out how I'm gonna season these steaks and chicken breast up so I can eat good.
I'm actually gonna when we get off here, I'm going to heat me up some jerk chicken pasta.
that
Yeah.
sounds good, man.
Oh yeah.
Pasta.
Yeah, it's the missus made it yesterday. So we got some leftovers, so I'm gonna go hit that up as soon as this stream is over.
You know what? I like you, Greg. You know why? I'm gonna throw some butter, a little jerk seasoning in the pan. Make me some roasted chicken cutlets.
There you go. There you go. He's like, you shouldn't have said it. Now I gotta do it. Hey, so fellas, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for coming through. B,
Yeah, me.
where can they find you at, B?
86scopes.com. You know where I be.
All right. Mr. Jared, you wanna let them know where they can find you?
Yes, sir, man. And again, thank you for having me, bro. Every Sunday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We try to have a show Friday if I'm busy Sunday, but the show is called Southern Baller Show. Just a bunch of Southern gentlemen just talking about football, man, the HBCU, and like Big Ray said, just talking about football in general, maybe a little other topics. But that's it. Come check a brother out.
Yes, definitely go check him out. Show him some love. Let's get his subs up. Let's get our subs up here. Couple things I want to say before I go. I was contemplating adding either a segment onto my shows or doing another show throughout the week called Big Boy Talk, or maybe a second channel. We'll see what happens. Or maybe I start a Patreon and Big Boy Talk will be strictly for the patrons. We'll see what happens. It's in the works. Yeah, I'm trying, get a little something extra out there. But if anybody's interested in anything like that, please let me know in the comments after. I'll check my comments. We'll, see what people say, see what we get. Again, thank everybody for coming through. I thank these two gentlemen for being on the show. We love y'all. And obviously you can find me here, Living Big with Big Reg, on YouTube, TikTok, and X. Go copy some merch. You know what I'm saying? Jared, I know you got some merch. I hope you loving it.
Yeah, I love it, man. I wear it when I go out do my errands, man, and I'm gonna get another shirt. Buy out for a family member too.
Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Y'all, thanks again. We love y'all. Stay blessed. Peace.
Stay blessed.